Well, I was told, I was keeping in touch with the guys here. I was told it was brand new. Obviously, whenever you think of Caribbean rugby back in England, you assume everybody's really fast and athletic, which my assumptions were true, or I'm very slow, either one. But yes, it was definitely, kind of everybody was super fast. Didn't have that kind of natural. Well, not natural, I wouldn't say. It was more just the experience of knowing the game. It was just catch and run, and see what happens. So yeah, it was. I found it very tough to play because in England everybody sort of trained the same way. Especially if you go to the higher levels, everybody sort of has the certain perception of the game. And here it's just kind of you just give them the ball and see what happens.
I think the minute I stepped on a practice field for rugby, the calling happened.
An 8-year plan to be on the team, and I was in it within 2 years.
Don't wait until you are a pro to be a pro, right?
Like, I like doing something, stopping and learning from it.
Like, it just looked like it was a heavy hit.
To give up, it's not up.
That's the first time I played professionally.
I'm making rugby money. How can I make money outside of it?
And there was 2 Scottish guys, and they said, "Oh, you're here for the movie."
Rugby is a sport where that's often coupled with actually having a good time.
He looked at me and he says, "You guys are awesome."
Grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Grow Rugby. My name is GiftTime Ibelu, and this is a show where we speak with people about the opportunities they have found, created, or taken advantage of via rugby. Guys, we got an amazing guest. You guys don't even realize. We stepped back inside the Caribbean. We had Nicolette last time, and we continued onto the tour through the Caribbean, going to the great country of Curaçao, and we got to speak with Robert Perry, a former professional rugby player turned coach, developer, innovator, fitness coach, Mr. Everything down in Curaçao. But this man is leading the way in developing culture, is changing culture, creating opportunities, and apparently creating some of the best beach rugby in the Caribbean. Actually, we did this interview as an actual project in conjunction with Rugby America's North. So big shout out Brian Kelly for being able to create this connection and allow me to have the opportunity to be able to talk with Robert Perry. And this was a great story. I really enjoyed it a lot, and it's just nice to see. Again, you guys always know I'm always about culture, rugby impacting culture, and this is another one of those that hit both personally and across the island. So you guys are going to want to listen to this one. In the meantime, I hope you guys had a great weekend. For those who celebrated it, I hope you had a great Easter, and for those who don't celebrate it, I hope you just had a dope weekend altogether. I was good for me. We had a lot of rugby happening between, obviously, MLR still in full run, going to, this was week 3 of it. It's going strong. You can feel the energy. Of course, you had Dubai Sevens as well going through. Shout out to USA Women for coming in second in that piece. We can't be letting Canada get us like that, though. We can't. They already were trying to win in the pandemic. We can't let them win on the pitch. All right. Only 1 P for one country. All right. No. Shout outs. Got to give it up to the homies, Cheddar Amba, Nia Tapper, just coming through. I always got the support for them and everything that they do. And then, of course, there was Women's Six Nations, and we got just more and more rugby popping up. There was Tropical Sevens, which is a huge rugby tournament in Orlando where a lot of teams go. So we got it. And of course, it didn't happen this weekend, but continuing to set up for the HBCU Rugby Classic. I'm getting excited. We got so many teams coming in. We got an event that's being prepared, and we got so much help. I can't wait to talk more about it, but it's not going to be on this one. I'm going to let you guys are going to have to look out for the stuff. But I can say a big congrats and a big ups to our friends Phaedra S. Knight and Ransom Ram Eddings, who we were able to officially name our trophies after. So our championship trophy is now moved from the HBCU Rugby Classic Championship Trophy, as generic as that name is, to the Phaedra S. Knight Championship Trophy. So you're going to win the Knight Trophy if you win the HBCU Rugby Classic. And then, of course, our Player of the Match Trophy is now known as the Ransom Ram Eddings Player of the Match Trophy. So it's really an honor to be able to put these people into the history books for the HBCU Rugby Classic and continue to immortalize them because they deserve it. They've been big. And if you guys don't know about Ram, go check out the episode. We talked to him a few episodes back. I don't remember the number. I'm not that guy. I don't remember the number. But we talked to him, and just a great conversation. And, of course, Phaedra last night. I need to drop that. Might do a throwback Thursday. But if you don't know who Phaedra is, I mean, Google, because you're about to get hit with some reality. HBCU alumni, lawyer, World Rugby Hall of Famer, just breaking all the trends, just changing it. And of course, she's been a big supporter of the HBCU Rugby Classic. So I got to give it all the credit, man. Phaedra is amazing. So to be able to do this was legit all the way through. But before I get you guys into this next interview and get you guys listening to the great Robert Perry, I wanted to thank you guys, everybody who continues to listen to this each week. You guys are continuing to grow the audience, and the audience is starting to impact the guest, and we love it when the guests get impacted and it impacts you, and I want to thank you guys all. Please, guys, if you can, please, if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a review on there, whether written, leave some stars, preferably 5 stars. If it goes 4, I'll be accepting. If you go 3, might die on the inside, but it's okay. I respect the honesty that goes along with it. But it's been great. It helps us to be able to get found more and more and continue to spread. And the more that it's able to spread, the more we're able to do. And I definitely want to be able to thank you guys more and more. And of course, if you guys can go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/GiftTime Rugby Network. We post up the video for the podcast, and it creates just another element because now you can see the craziness and see how I'm trying to formulate these questions in my mind versus what you're trying to hear on the podcast component of it, or whether you're going the other way and coming down. Hey man, if you're in the video, come down to the podcast, man. Go flow through on. It all works, but. No, your guys' support means everything. We see it. I love it. And thank you so much. So, without further ado, I want you guys to enjoy this Robert Perry, professional rugby, English, game changer, coach, developer, fitness man. Check it out.
Grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Grow Rugby. My name is GiftTime Ibelu, and we got an amazing VIP guest with us today, coming out of the great island, the great country of Curaçao, head coach, former rugby player, just an absolute changer in Curaçao rugby, Robert Perry. Robert, thank you so much for just taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Obviously, you've been working in RAN for a little bit now, and you guys are, especially within this Caribbean island area, we've seen a really strong development of growth starting to happen within the RAN organization and RAN rugby. From teams like Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, and we're starting to see even what you guys are starting to do in Curaçao. But with anything, I always like to know kind of a beginning on how these things get started. For you, even before with rugby, can you tell me, how is it that you ended up even in Curaçao to begin with?
Well, yeah, it's a bit of a crazy story, really. I was in England. I was playing good standard rugby over there, and then I got an email one day just from a guy who said, "Do you want to come and play in the Netherlands Antilles?" And I was thinking, no, Netherlands is not so warm. I fancy going somewhere and interesting. And then he said, "Come in. We're having a tournament." And I said, "Yeah, okay, why not? For sure." So I came out with a couple of friends, and we had like a 2-week amazing trip. Played really good standard of rugby. We had 3 clubs from the island, a team from Colombia, Trinidad. So we had a really great experience. And then Curaçao started to lift off even more. Stayed in touch with a lot of the guys. And then we had a kind of reunion in Amsterdam Sevens. And then after that, they said, "Oh, we're looking for a coach. The kind of rugby seems to be working on Curaçao, so let's try and continue it." And then I came out originally for 3 months just to kind of help out and build up towards the first international tournament, which we went to, which was in Barbados. And then just we're in England, kept bouncing in between. Eventually, just thought, right, let's stick out here permanently. And well, when I say permanently, I mean 1 year, 2 year, and then it just kind of steamrolled on from there. We did so well, and things grew all the time. So we thought, well, what's the point of out here? So let's continue it.
Yo, so how long has it been? I was reading somewhere it's been like 7 years since you've been in Curaçao, or was that reading that wrong?
Well, I've been here for just 9 years, just turned 9 recently. Nice. Rugby was going
congratulations
now for 11, so it's 2 years before I came. Sorry?
I was saying congratulations on almost making a decade, basically, of living in Curaçao.
Nearly there, yes. That's right. Time flies when you're having fun.
Facts.
No, so it was here 4 years before I came, and it was sort of just to be seen. It was kind of just more as not taken too seriously, and then because of the standard of the players and how well it was perceived here and taken up, it was decided that Curaçao wanted to make it a very serious sport on the island and see if we can make it as big as what baseball is and what football is on the island. So we went for it, and then I was brought out full time. So it was it was a kind of a trial period, an adjustment period to see if it was even possible, where we are geographically and how the island is. And we decided to go for it. So, and here we are, nearly a decade later, still going.
Yo, that's awesome, and especially on just the factor of, and I love it. I feel like this is like the base rugby story of, it was kind of a whim to kind of go there. I didn't expect very much, and then all of a sudden I got locked in.
And here we are. Yeah, exactly. I had lots of options of going to all around the world, and then I thought, I've done Australia, I've done that side. I've never done over here. Obviously, about the Caribbean, let's go and experience that, and if it's combined with rugby, let's do it. And then it just kind of just grew on you, and it became rugby first, and then the lifestyle. Definitely a unique story, but one that worked out very well.
I love it. So I want to backtrack. I always say it's always good to get every superhero's origin story. So for you, what was your entrance into rugby initially, before even obviously, which would eventually lead you to Curaçao?
Well, rugby's been my whole has been rugby. My earliest memories was just driving around the country back in England, watching my dad play. He was a very, very good player until one day he got a bit of a knock on the head and drove home, to my mum's amazement, that he forgot us at the rugby field. So we drove all the way back, and he found us on top of the bar. We were 1 or 2 or something. I can't even remember that, but so we were it was installed with us, me and my brother, with rugby. So he found us 2 hours later, rugby songs and being thrown around the bar. So we had no choice really of rugby. And then that's when my dad decided to be a coach. Because he couldn't play anymore. My mum wouldn't let him, I don't think. So didn't trust him to play. So so then it was always going to be rugby. It was always going to be some sort of sport. And he became my coach at school. And then from then on, just rugby until and still going. So.
So obviously it's a completely different pathway when you're talking about rugby in the Americas versus rugby in England. For you, was there always this possible trajectory of ending up being a coach, or was it just like I'm a player and the coaching seemed to pop up?
Well, yeah, no. So rugby has always been my my life, and it's all playing. I love playing. Still do, although I don't do it as much as I like to, obviously now. But no, playing was always the goal. And then when I came here, I was more of a player, still a player, and coached on the side in the sense I would still take the training sessions, but play myself. And I stepped back and decided to swap that role around and became a coach more than a player, and it was so much more fulfilling. And I could do my job a lot better, which was a good size. I wanted to continue playing, and I still run around sometimes, play a nice bit of touch here and there. But now the sole focus is coaching, and refereeing is something that I never really wanted to do. But now I'm very passionate about it, and hopefully can continue going there and do some more tournaments and stuff like that, and look to kind of build a career in refereeing. So I think that's the logical step for me. But yes, I still play obviously when I can, but coaching comes first now.
Yeah, it's always interesting whenever you get those life changes where you find more passion in something that you might not have thought about before. Obviously, playing is always key, and then you when you start to see the scope even wider, you're like, oh man, there's even more that I can do that adds another level of fulfillment to my passion.
Yeah.
Yo,
absolutely.
I love that.
It's huge fulfilling. Yeah.
So, whenever you got to Curaçao, you're coming in with a wealth of experience. What was the rugby, from your perspective, what was the rugby like whenever you first came? And what was your perception of it versus even what you thought it would be before you had arrived?
Well, I was told, I was keeping in touch with the guys here, I was told it was brand new. Obviously, whenever you think of Caribbean rugby back in England, you assume everybody's really fast and athletic, which my assumptions were true, or I'm very slow, either one. But yes, it was definitely everybody was super fast. Didn't have that kind of natural. Well, not natural, I wouldn't say. It was more just the experience of knowing the game. It was just catch and run, and see what happens. So yeah, it was. I found it very tough to play because in England everybody sort of trained the same way. Especially if you go to the higher levels, everybody sort of has certain perception of the game. And here it's just kind of you just give them the ball and see what happens, and don't really play with a structure. They just work on their individual brilliance and skill and speed. So I found it very tough actually to come and play at this level because it was people were doing things that you don't expect on a rugby field, or I've never seen on a rugby field. So it was definitely a learning experience for sure. Learned a lot coming out here. But yeah, so it was a big change for me really.
Hey guys, I just want to take a quick moment to talk to you about the Rugby Outlet Mall. Now, I know you guys have heard me talk about this many times in the show before, typically in the intro, but I wanted to really make sure to get your focus on it because the Rugby Outlet Mall is not just the commerce hub for GiftTime Rugby, but it is an area where we want to be able to create the movement and the symbolic elements that add to the movement. The Rugby Outlet Mall is here so that we can have something that not just to have for the field, but more importantly to be able to have as a regular lifestyle. Because as you know, rugby is not just a sport. It's a whole way of life. It is a movement. And we have everything moving from cultural to your pop culture items like our Rugby Zon shirts and sweaters, as well as representing for the culture as we continue to develop the HBCU Rugby Classic, and we want to continue to support these things because it only grows the sport overall. We are continually growing to be able to make sure that we're connecting with you on a personal level as well as a rugby love. And for you guys that are listening to the podcast and listening to this show, want to let you know that you are going to get 20% off all gear that is under the category of GiftTime Rugby Network and the HBCU Rugby Classic. That is basically the entire store. And all you need to use is promo code GREAUX Rugby, GREAUX Rugby. And with that, you guys will get 20% off any clothing that is in the store as of right now. And of course, we're always building up more and more each time. But we want to make sure that you are able to symbolize your rugby faithfulness to the rest of the world and let them know that there is an opportunity to be able to develop, to grow, and to get better each and every time in this sport. So guys, I hope you guys check it out. Definitely go, and you guys can go to www.rugbyoutletmall.com. That is rugbyoutletmall.com. Guys, you're not going to want to miss one bit of this. Now let's get back to it. No, I hear that a lot of times when it comes from people coming from England or New Zealand or South Africa and coming into one of these non-major rugby countries, because of the fact that there is that set structure that you've developed over the years that is not just effective, but is there's a reason why that structure exists. Then you come into these areas where it's a lot more loose, so you have the appreciation of unpredictability of the game and development, but you're also trying to make sure that the nuance and technicality is being developed correctly.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It was. I first came on the island, and I pulled this outrageous dummy, and if it was in England, that they would have falled for that dummy, but nobody fell for it, and I just got picked up and thrown off the field. Like, absolutely smashed. I thought, my goodness, this is not right. You should have fallen for that. It was a beautiful dummy. So yeah, that was a steep learning curve for sure. So yeah, it's about building the. It was very, very annoying, but yeah, for sure, it's a different. It almost feels sometimes like a different game. You know, definitely how I was in England. I was playing a good standard, high level, and everything was each other's, and it was very much robotic. At the time, think about it, you think more. And then you get out here and you don't kind of plan through first one phase. It's kind of give it to this guy and see what happens. So it was definitely a shock. That's the natural ability of these guys. They're so fast and so natural athletes. So you've got to play into their strengths. So I had to do a lot of adapting as a coach to kind of not fight what natural is and from both sides and bring my experience from England. So understand the ways of rugby out here. You know, every place has a different way of playing it to everybody's different strengths. So, yeah, I learned a lot, and yeah, definitely, I still feel my ribs after that tackle. So,
it's like every once in a while I just get a random throbbing on the ribs, and I'm just like, oh right, that's what.
man, learned the hard way.
Yo. So I love the fact that you speak about stylization when it comes to rugby, and it's one aspect that I've always believed makes rugby very unique in for the individual countries in determining, like, understanding we have a base structure for rugby, but now it's how do we utilize those strengths and create its own version. So over these last 9 years, what is it that you felt you have been able to help bring out of the Curaçao rugby community that makes it uniquely, makes their rugby unique to them? Obviously, we have our rugby culture as a whole, but it kind of gives them their scope of how rugby is presented.
Sorry, I lost you there for the last bit. What was your question again? Sorry.
No problem. I can repeat it again. I was saying, over the time that you've been in Curaçao, like, what do you feel has been the best? What do you feel you've been able to help bring out or help reveal about them that allows them to kind of create their own perception, their own perspective of rugby, while still being obviously within the base rugby cultural sphere? But what makes Curaçao rugby uniquely Curaçao?
Good question. Definitely something that sticks with us and is that we always a very social team. We really implement that. We have that real family feel here, whether it be the youth, the girls, or the guys. Everybody real rugby. I know it's a bit of a cliche in the rugby world. Everybody says that, but we really are. Wherever we go, whichever tour we go to, whichever tournament, we always stress and that we have to be social. We have to mingle with the other teams and support and create friendships and bonds. And I think we're very good at that for Curaçao. We don't necessarily win the matches, or we don't we don't score lots of points against these other countries, but we leave a lasting impression off the field, which any rugby player will do is just as important. That 80 minutes on a Saturday is awesome, but it's the kind of lifestyle that you lead. So we're very, very strict on that. We're very implement that mentality on the island. We always help each other out, always help other teammates out, as though you come to training and then off you go. We're in constant contact with each other. We're doing a lot of team building games and a lot of different sort of trainings, and I'd say that's definitely a unique. I know that a lot of rugby players and a lot of teams stress that social life, that third half that everybody talks about, but I'd say we're definitely one of the top things here. And we've got a lot of Dutch players over here that come over, especially Marines and stuff, that live here for a few years.
Interesting.
Who play in Holland, and it's the culture different. It just seems to work. We have the social side, the drinking games, the parties and stuff like that. That's what the Dutch bring. That's what the English are known for as well. Unfortunately, here is a little more reserved in the way that they act. It's not in the culture. So we mingle it in very well. It just seems to work very well that we get kind of. It just seems to really work as a team, and we create such great bonds and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure, I would say not so much on the field, more off the field, what we create, which is just as important.
I agree. Look, I think that being able to develop the rugby culture, the social rugby culture, actually is probably one of the biggest glue pieces that have to be done for developing rugby even on the field, because it's that part that actually even attracts people to want to continue to play, even as you're developing in the game. Absolutely. And getting past those moments. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's like I said, that 80 minutes on a Saturday is important, but it's if you feel comfortable around everybody and you love the training and you love the team, then it makes it so much better. So for sure, I agree. No, so I understand that you are both a coach for both the men's and the women's. Obviously, there's cultural, you can have cultural clashes in terms of being able to cultural clashes that have led to sometimes difficulty in being able to bring women on board. For you, what has there been a much struggle in being able to convince women to come play in Curaçao, or has it been a simpler process? In the West, it can be a little bit easier than in others.
Oh, I'm really sorry, I lost you. What was that? Was that like?
No problem. I think
the island isn't so good.
No worries at all. I was saying, when it comes to, I understand that you are both the men's and the women's coach for men's and women's rugby coach. For you on the island, has it been a process of being able to develop the women's side? Because I know sometimes there's cultural clashes that go, and more so stigmas that go along with having the women play versus in other places. But have you found that to be a obstacle, or are you starting to see like more people, more women as well as men open up to wanting to play the sport?
Yes, absolutely. The women here on the island are fantastic. They're great. The problem is they're not known here on the island, whereas in England and maybe parts of America and in Holland, it's sort of. It's there. Everybody knows about it, whether you play or you understand the game, or at least know of the game. But here, it's baseball or it's football. That's it. And when it comes to rugby, the parents certainly would be scared of it, and they don't want their kids to perform in it, which is the real test. The kids love it. As soon as you get the ball in the hands, the kids run around the field, loving the contact, as we all do. Playing a great game. The parents are very. Reserved, simply because the first thing you do is you go on YouTube, you type in rugby, and it's the biggest hits, the biggest smashes, and it just puts off the parents. But once we can get the parents on our side, then we're golden. But yeah, it's definitely a struggle because, like I said, it's not part of the everyday sort of norm. So it's a brand new sport that you look at and you just see people jumping on each other and you don't understand the actual game of it, and the safety aspect of it. It's rugby designed to be safe. Yes, it's a rough sport, but it's designed to be safe. But it just looks from the outside does look a bit. I must admit. So that's our biggest. So do you have a problem? That's probably it. But yes. And
no,
nice challenge.
That makes perfect sense, and you know, I feel like it's one of those where it actually sometimes can help develop the culture into having greater depth because there's so much resistance to it that once you see the other side, the parents will have a tendency to kind of go through a wave and explain it out to other parents, and so you almost get additional influencers. You get the word of mouth spread, and I can't assume Curaçao is so big of an island that the noise doesn't eventually reach at some point in time.
Exactly. Yeah. That word of mouth helps us a lot. So if we have one or two kids playing in a school, the whole school will know about it. And we're very active with our social media side, which we know is very important. So people can follow us easily and check it out and see what kind of stuff we do. And it's certainly just trying to change the perspective of what rugby is. Trying to make it not that scary, injury-ridden sport. It's not nothing like that. It just appears like that from the outside. Once you're in, you're in for life, as we all know. So, it's about getting that thing. But yeah, certainly it's a small island, so these positive images of rugby certainly spread quickly.
I love that. I absolutely love it. I always talk about the cultural changes that can happen whenever you utilize rugby into a space. For you, is there an example that you have where you saw a kid or a player who that got started with rugby that you saw it kind of impact their life in a separate way? Maybe it impacted how their social interaction was, or their quality of life improved, or something that you were able to witness where you were like, oh my gosh, this is why I continue to do what I do here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that almost every single training session, I see that sort of stuff. And what we said at the beginning about coaching becoming more fulfilling is when you see somebody change or open up and become more secure in themselves. It doesn't matter if they drop a ball. It doesn't matter if they miss a tackle. As long as they're trying 100%, we all, that nobody cares. And that's the philosophy that rugby's sort of built on. As long as you try your hardest and give it your all. But these kids, every time they come to the training sessions, I think in England growing up, you're very spoiled. You don't realize how lucky you are, and you have nothing, and then go and to change their life in rugby. We've been very fortunate with the talent we have on the island. We've managed to send a lot of guys over to Europe. One of them played for Newcastle Falcons.
Nice.
And we're able to change his life. Stuck here, he was doing nothing, and we managed to get him into England. He's now living there. He's now married with kids and living in London. So he's made it as a person, and we were happy that we were able to help him through that. And a lot of guys go to Holland, and we're able to help these guys and change their lives in those sort of things. And of course, not just that big picture, the little picture of making these kids secure, making them confident in themselves, and accepting who they are, and everything like that. So no, that's definitely for me was the big thing. Turning it from a player to a coach was to see fulfillment, not just about me scoring 10 tries or whatever like that. That you forget about that the next day. What you remember is how you change these kids' lives just in little bits every single training session. And definitely the most rewarding part of it is to grow.
Yo, no, I love to hear that. And that's like I said, it adds such a different level of fulfillment whenever you are able to transfer what you know to impact other people. Like it's just a weirdly different feeling that you never realize until it happens. There's one part that you talked about.
Absolutely,
when
yeah, granted.
It's one part you were talking about when you were talking about reffing and the adjustment now into that. I think there's always a conversation about trying to get more and better. Maybe the word better might not be, but more refs into the game and getting people involved in that. For you, what is that program like in Curaçao? Because I feel like that is, and one part that is more economic, is probably one of the most economically beneficial at the lowest level, like as in like easiest to be able to get to and help people make something from it than any other position in rugby when it comes to it being in non-major rugby countries. How has the process of developing refs in Curaçao been going?
Well, yes, we had a number of refereeing courses here. We've had Scott Harlan who's come down. We've had Aaron Kennedy who's come down. We've had courses on that. Like I said, the kids are very new to the game. They don't quite understand yet the whole game. They know the rules, they know the sport, but they don't quite get the game yet. So they're learning the rules very well. We're doing a lot of refereeing in our training sessions when we have matches between the clubs on the island. We let other people ref, but it's just building the confidence of it. Really, they're still learning the game, so it's difficult for them to become a ref. They're not so confident in their, but we have very natural people here that will be in months or working hard. We're hoping to get more courses going through. I always like to coach reffing. It also gives our players a different perspective on the game, and understanding, especially the respect part. It's we all know in rugby. You don't talk back to the referee and respect the referee decisions. I mean, that's sort of the baseline of our and to see them now become referees to the other side of the game is so invaluable to their development. So like I said, we do a lot of it. We try and get as much as we can in, and it's another, like I said, it's another outlet that these kids can go through, refereeing, coaching, everything. So we let a lot of these clubs run themselves with their help, and I will always shout that it's up to them, and I think that they are doing very well. And like I said, I'm just understanding the game more. We've only been around for such a short period of time. Some of these players have only been here for a matter of months or years, so whatever they can gain from experience to help them develop is invaluable. So definitely the refereeing is a big thing, and hopefully we're going to push on. You'll be seeing some Curaçao referees or linesmen or whoever in the next competition. So we're hope for that, really.
Oh, that's great, and I get that makes perfect sense. It is a process. We're talking about just 25 years, and we're starting of having only been a professional rugby union concept around the world. So, and even that has been its own pitch and fall. So, to let alone 10, 15 years of being able to develop rugby in an area, also still going to have its growth, its growing pains as well. But it's glad that there's progression moving forward with it.
Right, exactly, yeah. Sure, for sure, yeah.
So kind of wrapping it up to get an idea, if you would describe what it would be to be playing, not even playing rugby, to be living in a place like Curaçao, like how would you describe the experience of Curaçao life, and then obviously how it can relate back to rugby, which you've touched on a little bit, but a little bit more clearly?
Well, for me, Curaçao, I'd never heard of it before I came out. And when you think of the Caribbean, especially English, you think of Barbados, you think of Jamaica, the kind of classic holiday destinations. So for me, it was exciting to go somewhere new. I'm one of the only English people here. I mean, there's English people popping up everywhere. We're everywhere, but I'm one of the only ones on the island, which is also a nice feeling, For me, Curaçao, I've gone to a lot of different islands. We obviously through the tours, through our international matches, and I was the nicest island, infrastructure-wise. It's incredible. Always something to do. It's good, lovely parties, stuff like that. So it's a really, really great island to live. But I would never have stayed here just for that. I was set on traveling and playing rugby around the world. But what made me stay here was was the rugby and was the attitude players that give selfishly, I should say. So definitely, I mean, of course, you have the perks of living in the Caribbean by the beach and in great weather and stuff. But definitely, the rugby was the main thing that made me stay, and it was just the attitude of all the kids. So I could have been anywhere in the world as long as I got these guys here. Then you'd enjoy yourself. So it's just a little cherry on top that I'm living in 30 degrees and on a nice beach. So yeah, for sure, the rugby is why I'm here.
People work their whole lives to get to the point where you're at, and you're just being able to go and do it as a rugby person. Exactly. So to know that to have that perfect combination, that's really dope. And then, like I said, obviously you add to the culture of the island. Absolutely, yeah. You know, it's every day I'm learning new things because it's so different to where I'm from. You know, I was sent to a religious boarding school in the north of England where it's snowing all the time, strict rules, and you come over here and every single day I've been here 9 years, kind of, I've been so surprised about what these, you know, this country and these people to offer. So no, every day is always a bit of fun and yeah, like I said, it's nice weather as well. You see. Oh, I love it, Rob. You know, I love to hear. I love just what I'm hearing, and I can't wait to see more of what Curaçao is going to be doing. Can you tell people where they can go to learn more about Curaçao rugby, and you know, how they can even be able to help advance your guys' initiatives? Well, yeah. So we have obviously social media accounts, Facebook and Instagram, Curaçao Rugby Federation. It's always looking for teams to come down and play, for coaches to come down and experience the island and to help us grow. Yeah, like I said, teams is our main thing. That's, you know, a lot of American, especially after this pandemic, as soon as the borders kind of open again, you know, people will want to come down to the islands and play some rugby and beach rugby. That's sort of our main attraction. So, you know, anybody that wants to come in touch with us and we'll help you out and you can help us out with some rugby and some coaching and stuff like that. So we have a lot of, we're always ready to accept. We're great hosts down here and show you a good time in the Caribbean and yeah, that's it. Yo, that's so awesome. Have a YouTube channel where with a lot of our games. So yeah, we're very active on our social media. We have competitions a lot. We're still going with the competitions. I know a lot of places around the world and in America have stopped, but we're kept going, and we'll be in to watch. Well, at least you can watch some rugby with us, follow us, and you'll be able to watch some live games. So, yo, that's awesome. That's really impressive. I'm really happy to hear that you guys are doing that. Like, it's ironically still a grown development of people broadcasting their games. So the progressiveness that you guys have in that should be applauded. Absolutely applauded. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, Robert, man, thank you so much for. Thank you very much. Yes, well, we try. We do well with what we have. So. No, anytime. Thank you very much. Yo, Rob, thank you so very much, guys. I know this was a little hard on the ears a bit, but I really appreciate the patience. And no, it was really great to be able to hear more about Curaçao and what it is that they're doing down there. And I continue to hope that they get more and more attention. And hopefully this helps, man, because of you guys. It's because of you guys that they might be able to get a bunch more attention and be able to get some more support and help, because we want to see it grow. This is what we do whenever we're changing the community. We're growing the game, and not just growing the game in terms of the play, but we're growing it in terms of opportunity. We're growing it in terms of access and experience, and we're just really changing it. So thank you guys so very much. And of course, please do not forget that you guys are always able to go and check out more of the podcast every single time. Please check out, last week we had Nicolette Pantor, captain for Trinidad and Tobago Rugby. We had my guy Ryan Ginty a couple weeks ago. He is now the broadcaster for the main Major League Rugby show on Fox Sports. He's on network TV, baby. We've had Katie Sadlier, the women's general manager for World Rugby. Sarah Alice Sau. We had Keishan Downs, the vice president for Jamaica Rugby Union, Jess Nielsen, the head coach of York Rugby, former Canada rugby player. I overlooked said Sarah Alisala and just didn't say what it was. Yo, this is the founder and co-founder and president for Tory Rugby and former national team manager Warren Smullis and Preston Thompson of America Rugby Podcast. Adam Milby, the president of the Philippines Rugby Union, Tozantu Titanwe of Viral Rugby. Tiffany Faye, former captain of the USA Women's Rugby Team for US. I guess I did say that redundantly. Tiara Mack of the state senator for Rhode Island and former Brown rugby player. Anna Nwusiri, the host of the Black Girls Ruck podcast. Comey Gandhi Fishbin of the USA Rugby Board. Just so many people. Freddie Henry Ajuda, Nigeria rugby player and Life University player. Going even back, Kyle and Tiana Granby of Roots Rugby, Nia Tapper that I talked about. Like so many guests, so many people have come through. Learned so much more. And please, guys, check it out. We even got our HBCUs all taken care of. So, guys, you guys can go check out Raheem Vital and Michael Toussaint for Prairie View A&M. You can check out Saifuddin Safir of Morehouse College. You can check out Rashad Lipford of North Carolina A&T, so you guys can learn more about what's going to be happening for the HBCU Rugby Classic and more. And of course, like I said, check out Kyle and Tiana Granby. You guys can check out just Derek Lipskin, also of Roots Rugby and Old Blue, and Kamani Davis of Roots Rugby and Made. And guys, just there's so much. You guys want to learn this. It helps because it sets the standard, it creates the context, it helps set up the story. So when you guys watch the games, it has so much of a deeper meaning. And you know what? It also allows us to continue to make people in this sport have a chance to be recognized and be great, and we continue to be great, and it's a rising tide that lifts all boats. But obviously, guys, I'm not gonna lie, it starts with you, and I want to thank you. So with that being said, I hope that you're happy, I hope that you're healthy, and I hope that you know, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, that you are highly favored. I'm gonna talk to you next time. Cheers.
Hey everybody, this is just the Bray Train sending out a personal little video diary to all you people out there, where I am going to document me riding most of the way between Singapore and Tokyo for the 2019 Rugby World Cup. Number one is because as part of my business I do Rugby Lovers Guide to Asia. Number two is I want to bring a lot of exposure to the rugby clubs and the rugby NGOs and charities. Also on a personal level, I just want to break the funk off the kind of felt I've been into for the last 10 years.
So for the next 12 months, I poured myself into the Singapore to Tokyo campaign, but it still wasn't enough. I needed help, and it came from Louisiana.
We in Singapore, baby!
Gift from GiftTime Rugby USA is a extroverted tour de force.
Say hi to my people out there.
Which makes up for my social shortcomings.
This place is unbelievable. No! It's not just it's like
what's he supposed to do?
Morons, a bunch of morons.
Guys, picture with me. Picture. Australian. G'day, mate. You can use my phone. But what unites us is a hunger for adventure.
Off to KL, Kuala Lumpur. Yeah!
Woo! Gift, where are we?
We're in
Mount Fuji, baby!
Our love of Asian rugby culture.
1, 2, 3, center!
Yeah!
Rugby is starting to develop here in Cambodia for women as well.
Valkyries, the mighty Valkyries!
And allows us to overcome incredible obstacles.
It's just got so thick. It's just so thick here. Now it's pouring down rain again.
But coming to this Thai-Cambodia border has renewed all the aggression.
So the whole thing's gone buggered. I got hit. What? I got tail-ended by a motorbike.
I can just feel that knee, that ankle just going in all the wrong directions under the weight of my body. But that doesn't compare to the pain of failure.
I'm dying. Oh, I'm dying.
And that's what I've been worried about this whole time. We're out here, we're running out of energy, we're running out of money, and we're feeling isolated. And yet at that critical moment, friends, family, sometimes complete strangers come on board. Before you know it, we're back in the game.
Tokyo, here we come!
Making a comeback. 4 weeks, 2,300 miles, 5 countries.
After all the trials and tribulations, this ride had become deeply personal. All that mattered now was getting to that Rugby World Cup game in Tokyo.
Yeah, buddy. All right. Be easy. Go check out redearthfilms.vhx.tv to get your copy of Singapore to Tokyo any way we can. That's redearthfilms.vhx.tv.